In this video, we have the top 5 stocks to watch this week, and boy, this week is going to be crazy. So we will talk about the macroeconomic news afterwards, after we go over what you have been waiting for, and that is the top 5 stocks. So we will get into the price targets I'm looking at, the entries, and the stop losses, and why I'm so bullish and see great catalyst for these companies. They're very interesting and I'm very excited for all of them. So let's start with our first top stock of the week, and this is ticker symbol MAIN, ticker symbol MAIN, MAIN, and this is Main Street Capital Corporation. You may know of it as one of the best monthly dividend REITs, along with ticker symbol O and ticker symbol ADC, or Agree Realty. So this is Main, ticker symbol MAIN, and we will look at the daily to start because this looks so interesting. We have a beautiful descending triangle right here, and it looks like it's squeezing perfectly. Now, we love to see this because the triangles, especially descending or ascending, means that there will be either a huge breakout to the upside or a huge breakout to the downside. So whichever one it is, it's going to be a squeeze, and it's going to either rally much higher or go down much lower. Now, why I'm so bullish on this one is because if we take a look at the weekly, we can see that history doesn't usually repeat, but it often rhymes. So we have this nice descending triangle right here. And look what happened right afterwards. We saw this huge rally. So I am expecting for this stock in particular to do the same thing and to rally higher. Now you will notice that it bounced off of the 50 EMA. And it's just been in this little consolidation phase. So we just want to note that. Now I'm expecting a lot more volume because housing data is coming out this week. So housing is definitely going to be a hot sector for this week, especially. And if it bounces off of the 200 MA right over here, I'm expecting us to see a nice breakout of this upper line. And then once that happens, we are raring and ready to go. So let's look at the 1 hour chart to get our entry levels, because that is, of course, what you came here for. Okay, so we would like to see, this looks like it's crawling up and making some higher highs and higher lows, which we love to see. So my first entry would be at $41.30. Again, that's $41.30 because we want to see it bounce. And then the price target for that would be at $42.47. Again, that's $42.47. So that would be our first price target in this descending wedge pattern. Now that's if it goes back to this 200 EMA and to that descending wedge pattern. I'm expecting a nice 10 to 20% for that if we stay in this area, which would be great. As traders, we like to look for the most obvious performances that it can make. But you'll also notice that it did break out of this descending triangle for a little bit. So if it does bounce out of that area, I'm expecting to see a new support from a previous resistance. So if it does break out a little bit more, then I would like to see some more buying pressure before we go into this trade. So also, if you'll note, that there is an inverted hammer right here. Little inverted hammer, and you notice we have been going down, so it's been in a bit of a downtrend. What the inverted hammer talks about is that it's supposed to be bullish, which means that we may get a breakout. And you'll just notice that these two MAs are converging, and they've been pretty in sync with one another. So if this 13 EMA is able to go over this 21 EMA, we can expect it to go much higher. So if we look back over here, we can see that it's trying to break out. It's trying to break out over here, and it broke out over here on much larger volume. So this just shows that it is getting more bullish. Now I'm expecting it to bounce off this 200 EMA line, or even better is this previous support line. So just look out for those. And then we have the weekly right over here. And since housing is at the forefront of everything that's going on, we do have these two lines converging on the weekly as well. So if it can get out of this box, because it's squeezing very viciously, we can see a very nice rally. So now let's look at our stop loss. If we look at our stop loss, we just want to make sure it's tight. So if we go below this, which is $40.95, we will expect a very, very big breakdown, possibly to this lower channel here. So we just want to make sure if it does break down through this 200 EMA that we have a tight stop loss on that. So let's go back to the 1 hour. And like I said, if it breaks through that, which is not that great, we want to make sure we have a tight stop loss on around $40.95. So that's a good risk reward for us. And if no buyers step in at the 200 EMA, we are probably going to go to this downward trend. So I wouldn't look at buying it until we do get to this downward trend again. And it probably will bounce because it's been respecting this line 4 times already, which means that it is a very strong support line. So that's the first one I'm looking at. Again, the dividend REITs, especially the housing sector, it's just been going nicely. It's been having a nice relief rally. And if we look at the biggest dividend REIT, monthly dividend REIT, we have ticker symbol O, and it just looks like it is primed to go. Like this one looks like it's ready to go out of the gate. It's making that all-time high of $73.09, and I'm just expecting it to keep going up. Of course, we do need to see buyers step in, but also if we look at Agree Realty, this looks ready to go too. I mean, look at the bullish momentum right here. It's curling up very nicely. And it just looks beautiful because we had the buyers right over here. We had some selling pressure right over here, but it bounced very nicely. And there's no resistance until right at this range, which is around the $71.70 range. So $71.70. So ADC, they're both looking at great breakouts right now, and I'm expecting for Maine to do the same because, you know, once this whole sector goes into rally mode, there's really no stopping it. And I just feel like Maine is kind of a laggard right now, so I feel like it should rally this week especially, and we should get some nice gains because it has really good potential. Okay, so the next stock on our watch list, and I'm going to give you the price targets and entries for that as well, is none other than our friend Tesla, ticker symbol TSLA, ticker symbol TSLA. And you notice that it's bouncing off of this line. Now, we did have some reopening news over the weekend with Shanghai reopening this weekend. So we're expecting that to cause some bullish momentum and some buyers to step in more. Now, earnings are also this week, so I'm expecting more volume and volatility, if that could be possible for Tesla. We know this is a big volatile name. It's at a solid support that it has respected twice already with kind of these long wicks, and the wicks just mean that it is a very strong, very big support. So as long as we can stay above this support line with buyers, then it should be nice and ready to roar. It's also forming a descending triangle, and like we said, descending triangles normally produce a huge breakout or produce a huge breakdown. So either way, as traders, we want to have good risk management skills. Please have good risk management skills, which means that we do need to set a tight stop loss if we are going to be bulls. So I also see a bullish crossing of the right here of the 21 EMA over the 50 EMA, which is a very nice bullish sign. And I would love to see the 21 EMA cross over the 13 EMA so we can have some more bullishness. But if you see over here, we do see that it respected the resistance line. And then it's just been going in this wedge. And it's been going very vigorously in this wedge. But we are over two of the major MAs, which is usually a good sign. If we look at the weekly, we can see that it's just going into this bull wedge. And it's above all of the major averages. Now, what I like to see, and this is just really nice, what I like to see is that this 13 EMA is bouncing off of this 21 EMA, which means that it's also bullish as well. And if we go back to the weekly, we can see that our all-time high was $1,243.49. And if we stay at this, I could see it going much higher if we can just break through this upward trend. Now, we also have the Chinese GDP that is coming out this week. So I do believe that with the reopening and with everything that's happening globally, China is a very big factor in Tesla's stock price. So whether it's valid or not, it is. So if we get good GDP for China, if the estimates are in line or better, then I expect Tesla to go up a little bit more. So just watch out for that, because if it's not good, then we probably will break this trend. There probably will be more sellers than buyers. So that's definitely something you need to be aware of. You need to watch out for. But if you notice on the 1 hour, we are also making higher highs and higher lows, which I love to see. I love that. It did stop at the 200 EMA, which, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Let's just try to attempt that for this week, shall we? And you'll notice that we did stay over the VWAP, which again, that's really good. That means that institutions are buying. So my price target, I would like to enter at 978.25. Again, that's 978.25. That's my first price target. And I would like to see a rally up to 1018.47. That's 1018.47. Now, if Tesla mentions any buybacks or any great deliveries, we should see a nice catalyst for this stock during earnings. So it's all about earnings and China GDP this week. So just know that that will move the stock price, whether good or bad. We need to look at the estimates and the forecast for this week with Tesla. But I'm expecting something good. The chart is showing bullishness. So it is looking like it's going to be a good play. So those are the price targets on that, and the entry. If it breaks down through this line and goes right to 971.10, that's where I'm putting my stop loss. So we have 971.10 for Tesla. I love Tesla. Okay, stock number 3 before I get too crazy. Okay, so we have the cybersecurity space. Now, you'll notice that why I'm so bullish on this sector is because we have ticker symbol CRWD, ticker symbol CRWD. Now, this is CrowdStrike Holdings. I know that you know about this one because it is the leader in cybersecurity, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. We're finally seeing the cybersecurity sector having some bullish momentum, which is fantastic. Now, you know, with the geopolitical tension that is only getting stronger, we need all of those defense and cybersecurity plays, and I have yet, besides this week, to see the cybersecurity plays rally. They just rallied, which is very, very nice. And you'll notice that this was likely due to Goldman Sachs putting this back on their radar with raising the price target 5 days ago to $285, giving a very nice 40% gain to the stock. It's currently at $235.22. Now, this is the leader in cybersecurity. So once this starts rallying, I'm expecting the rest to follow as well. So we do have another pick for cybersecurity, but this is the first one. So we have been seeing LMT, or Lockheed Martin, just exploding, going crazy, right? The defense sector has gone crazy because of the geopolitical tensions. And I feel like we're finally seeing a rally for cybersecurity plays, starting off with CRWD. Now, it has a gap up right here to fill. It has this nice gap up to fill in the stratosphere, as well as this one. Gap ups normally fill. About 90% of the time, they normally fill. So I am very excited about this one. It's formed a very steady base, and you'll notice that it's just been having a lot of volume recently and a lot of pressure. And it's been rallying last week since the price target. So we need cybersecurity space when tensions are rising, but this sector has definitely been the laggard. So that's why I'm interested in it, because I am seeing some bullish momentum. So if you'll notice here, this was a very previous support. And we'll notice that it broke through this because we were expecting it to be another resistance. It broke through this with this huge bullish momentum, and it's just sitting over here, which is very nice. So what we need to see in the coming week, we need to see this bounce off of this line so it stays and respects this support line. If it doesn't and it breaks down, that is no bueno. That is not good. But if it stays up and makes a higher high, this could just go, because we do have a little bit of a resistance, but it should be magnetized to this gap up. So since it bounced off this major support, I would like to see this 21 EMA crossed over the 200 EMA, which is really nice, and it's above all of the major averages. So I would just like to see a nice bounce, because we are seeing a lot of bullishness, especially with these plays. So on the weekly, if we look at the weekly, and then we'll get into the price targets, we'll see that it bounced right off of the 200 MA, and it's just been rallying ever since. It's all the way over all of the major averages as well. And I would love to see this 13 EMA just go through all of these, because that will give us even more bullish momentum. And this is on the weekly, and we know that the weekly is stronger than the daily. And we're not seeing much resistance past this point as far as the weekly is concerned. So I'm just expecting it to rally very nicely. So let's look at our price targets and entry points. So now that we're seeing higher highs and higher lows, which I absolutely love, it could stay right at this point and we could see buyers. And if that is the case, then I would just go in and make that entry. I would like to see it go back over here and go to the $213 point. So that is my first entry. If we do see a little bit of selling pressure. Otherwise, I would just get in when I would be able to. So $232.50 would be my first entry if we do see buyers step in, because I think it's ready for a rally. So I am a little bit more bullish on this one, and I'm expecting it to bounce off. Of course, have a very tight stop loss if you are going to enter at that point. If buyers step in, please wait until the buyers step in. And I would stop at 229.75. 229.75. But if it does bounce up, then I'm just expecting it to keep going to around 240.15. 240.15. So it will give us a nice 10% gain. Of course, if we don't see any sellers at that point, then it could just keep going. Now, if we do break those two entries and we go all the way down, we would want to stop out, would say over here at 209.50. 209.50 would be the next stop loss. But honestly, this is just looking so juicy and so good. I'm just expecting it to keep going up and just to fill this gap, which would be lovely. So again, if you're not seeing any selling pressure, we want to make sure it breaks through over here. So just make sure that is a key indicator and just circle that as a price target if we do see sellers. But if not, we have very nice rallying and skies ahead just up to here. So we can fill that gap to 255. So again, if there's no resistance here, just wait until 255 for your next price target, and that will give you a nice 25% gain. So this is another one that I am looking out for. And speaking of cybersecurity, this one has made it on my watch list because I'm very excited about it. Now, there's not enough volume to break out yet, but it is in the cybersecurity space as well. This is a highly speculative company, but since we have CrowdStrike that is rallying, I'm just expecting a relief rally. Of course, wait until the buyers come in, please, please, please. But this sector is forming a nice base and just rallying with bullish pressure. So I'm watching for it to bounce off of this wedge area because it did drop about 50% because, you know, the high growth names, the speculative names are not in very good favor. And we know that they have dropped between 70 and 80%. This has only dropped between 50%. And I'm pretty sure it's because I have been researching this company for a while. Not financial advice, but I do own it. It has a dividend of 3%, and insiders have been aggressively buying this company. So that's something to definitely be worth noting. Now, I'm expecting it to stay in this wedge, and it can either break out to the upside or break down to the downside. But I'm expecting some more volume, especially in the cybersecurity space, to rally a bit higher, especially as geopolitical tensions rise, like we talked about earlier. And we will talk about the what to expect next week because we have a very busy schedule. So you can see right here, we love to see this because it broke this downtrend. So we had a low right here and a high right here. And then it went to a lower low. But then as soon as we got up to the higher part of the wedge, we can see that we just barely broke through this downtrend. So we are officially in an uptrend, which is usually a good sign. It's coiling and it is squeezing. So we have a lot of bullish indicators. This is definitely an under the radar stock. Not many people on Twitter or on any of the social media platforms are talking about this one. And I believe, in my opinion, there are a lot of institutions and a lot of analysts that are looking at Twitter and looking at a lot of these social media apps and saying, they're very bullish on this. I'm going to go bearish and just basically like rug pull the retail investors. So this one is very under the radar. And I think that's why it's going to rally before anyone really notices. So just keep your eye on that. And also, speaking of a gap, we have this huge gap here. It almost looks like Facebook. It's very crazy. But we are also seeing that as well. Now, just keep in mind that we are under the 500 EMA, so just be aware of that. So if we're looking on the weekly, we are seeing a little bit of volume step in. And we're noticing where we broke this downtrend was when we did get through a few of the EMAs. We broke through it very rigorously, actually, which is very nice. And then we're just seeing that we are below the EMAs. But as I said, we are down 50%. So I don't really see it going down much more. We do see that this was a bit of a support previously, or a resistance previously, so it is going into a bit more of a support area, which is nice if it can bounce off of that level. And we did see that we had a resistance at the 200 EMA. It tried to break through that twice, but we are squeezing. So I'm expecting it to go past this 200 EMA. And if it does, there's not much in its way except for right up here. So let's look at the 90-day and the 1 hour. So as you can see, we are seeing a little bit of bullish momentum come in, which is very nice to see. Let's go over here. Okay, so I would like to see the price target at $7.92. Again, that's $7.92 if we see this beautiful bullish momentum. If we don't see this beautiful bullish momentum, do not get in the trade. Do not get in the trade because it will basically fail the breakout, and that would not be good. So if we go there, then we want the stop loss to be at, go right over here, at $7.77. Again, that's $70.77. And if we do see buyers step in, I would like to see a nice relief rally up to $8.39, just below this 200 MA. That is your first price target to set your trailing stop. If we don't see any sellers come in at that point, even though it does look like it's a bit of a resistance level, if we don't see that, then we can just keep going up until $8.82. And then last but not least, $9.03. What you want to make sure is that you're just seeing buyers. So we want to make sure that the RSI, it looks like it's going to be bouncing off of this level. If the RSI keeps bouncing and going higher, that is great. If the MACD, if it curls up, that would be great. And then, of course, if we have the stochastic, if it's going to bounce back up again, that would be great. So what we're noticing is that there's not that much volume, but if we do see bullishness, just pay attention to that. It's something to pay attention to. And once the analysts see that crowd is rallying and the cybersecurity plays are rallying, this could, again, this is very speculative, but this could rally, and it does have a lot of bullish momentum going for it right now. And again, we are actually in an uptrend because of this higher high. So if you see any bullish indicators like the RSI or the MACD, or even if the relative average volume is above 2, if it gets above what it normally is, you can stay in this play. I normally stay in plays until I see the bullishness gone, or until I see one of the MAs cross over into bearish territory, or until one of the patterns break down. So I normally stay in plays, even if I do have a price target on it. And I'll just set a trailing stop loss. So that's definitely something, a lot of people ask me if I want to keep my gains and I want to manage more risk, but my play is already above my price target, I will watch my price target carefully, see if sellers come in. If they're not coming in, if I don't see any indication of bearishness, I will keep playing my trade and I will keep it going. If there's bullish momentum, there's no reason to go out of a trade just because it hit your price target. So what I like to do is just wait to see if there are any bearish indicators and if they're enough to get me out of the trade. If not, I set a trailing stop loss. So that's just, I went on a tangent there, but I just thought that was very important. So last one we have, which I'm actually incredibly excited about this because this is also showing that it could be a potential reversal. And this is ticker symbol BX, ticker symbol BX. This is Blackstone. This is one that I have in my long-term portfolio. I have not been very happy with the progress of the stock price, but I think that since this is, again, like CrowdStrike, this is one of the major ticker symbols out there that has just been not doing so well and has been under the 200 EMA. I'm looking for it to bounce off of support to stay in this wedge right here because we've been testing this wedge and it's just been squeezing like crazy. So I'm just expecting it to continue this and hopefully it breaks out and goes to higher highs. So this is basically what we're looking for right now, is just this bounce right here. And I'm looking for a nice little rally up to the 200 EMA just in the very short term. Now, what I'm also looking at, if you look at the EMAs, I'm looking for the 13 EMA to bounce off of this 200 EMA. Now, if you look right over here, 1, and right over here, 2, it's done this previously twice. So I am expecting to do that again because once it bounced, went right up to the wedge line. Once it bounced over here, went right up to this wedge line. So I'm just expecting it to, third time's the charm to do the same thing. So again, we need very tight stop losses, but if it does go back up to this wedge line, could be a potential reversal. What I'm also noticing on the weekly, which I'm very excited about. So what I'm also noticing is that it's above the 200 EMA, which is great. But we have another inverted hammer. So what does that mean? That means that it could be a potential reversal. Not saying it's going to be, but that is a very good indication that we could see some more bullish momentum. And it's trying to stay above that 50 EMA. I personally think it will because we can see that these wicks are just basically showing that, the buyers are very strong on this support. The buyers are incredibly strong on this support. And I'm expecting it to go up to this resistance level. Once it breaks through that, we're just, the next resistance isn't until 149.78. So those are the levels on a broad spectrum that I'm looking at. Let's look over at the 1 hour because this will tell us a lot as well. See, it's making higher lows, which we love to see. It's not out of that wedge yet, but I'm expecting it to. And I'm just looking at this. Let's go in a little bit more. So I'm looking if there are buyers to step in very quickly at 112.75. Again, that's 112.75, because if you'll notice, in after hours, we did break above the VWAP. So there could be some institutional buying. Once you hit above the VWAP, it usually means that the institutions are buying and the price will move higher. So that would be my first price target. if it doesn't get to there, then let's look at the 1 hour again. Then we want to keep a tight stop loss at psychological level of 112. So tight stop loss of 112. And then the next entry, if we do see sellers, would be at 108.52. That's 108.52. And then I would just keep a very tight stop loss. 108 over here, 106.70, 106.70. So the price target for that would basically be at the first stop loss at 112. So a pretty nice 10% gain. And then the second price target for that one would be 116.86. Again, that's 116.86. If we don't see any sellers, then we will go right below the 200 EMA at 118.45. Again, that's 118.45. If we don't see any sellers over there, set your trailing stop loss. But I'm expecting it to go up to 129.12. 129.12. So basically, we have a few entries and a few price targets, but I'm mostly looking at it here at 112.75, 112.75, and then looking for it to go all the way up here at 129.40, 129.40. So just keep those in mind and keep a tight stop loss on that. Now, this is Blackstone. I'm expecting T. Rowe Price and BlackRock to follow it if there is a rally. So just pay attention to those as well. And of course, again, the China GDP is going to be a big factor in all of these plays. So those were the top stocks that I'm looking for. Now, what I also wanted to tell you or show you is if any of you are in the healthcare sector, we have ticker symbol XLV. And what I'm seeing here on the weekly, just be careful of this because it's not really showing anything that's good. So this is very bearish. So right here, this is a very bearish sign, and we could be seeing stocks going down in this sector this week just because of this candle. There's not many other indicators telling me that, but it is getting to all-time highs. So, excuse me. So just pay attention to that. And just note that this is a very bearish candle pattern. So just note that is a lot of sellers are stepping in, and it could indicate a potential reversal for all of my healthcare traders out there. Just pay attention to that. We did make an all-time high, but I'm just expecting it this week to bounce off one of the MA lines. And then also tomorrow we have a few things in stock market news, So basically, that's so funny. So basically what's happening is, sorry about that. That is my Twitter. Go follow me on Twitter. So basically what's happening is we are having a lot of earnings. So for this week, we are having a ton of earnings. And what I mean by that, we're having Tesla, Apple, AMD, we're having there's a ton, Roku, Upstart. So just pay attention for earnings because it definitely will indicate whether we are going up or down. And also be aware of the tech space because Apple is not showing really great indicators of bullishness, and they do have earnings this week. So if we see some bad earnings or not so great earnings, Apple is the largest company in the stock market. So just expect every single ETF, VOO or SPY, to just come down with it. So I'm not looking at tech stocks right now, just because Apple is basically the leader in tech. And if we don't see anything good from that, I'm just expecting tech to sell off. So I'm kind of staying away from that for this week. Of course, if we get good news or good earnings, then I might look at tech. But even looking at the QQQ, it's not showing any good signs. It's below all major averages. It's not doing anything that I would like to see. And I'm someone who likes to buy shares and who doesn't like to short anything. So me being a bullish investor or someone who likes to buy shares, I don't like to see bearishness, especially in the QQQ and the SPY. And, it's not showing any signs of relief. So for this week, there's a lot of housing data. Be sure to stay on top of that. And there's also Bullard speaking tomorrow from the Fed. And basically every time he speaks, it's not good. So just look out for that. I will be updating you on Twitter. I send out alerts all the time. And also follow me at skingame.com under Supergirl Investor, where you can see literally all of my trades and when I close them. So we have housing data. So that's why we have so many REITs on here, because, the housing market will be at the forefront this week. And then we do have the China GDP. So Tesla is a very big one to trade off of, just because China is basically like entangled with EVs, and the leader in EVs is Tesla. Whether that is something you believe in or not, it is one of the macroeconomic effects for this week. So it's that, and then we have the earnings reports that are going to be very telling, especially for tech. I would love to trade tech right now. I just want to wait until we have Apple earnings and until we have Tesla earnings, because I just want to make sure that we have nice forecasts. And just looking at this on the QQQ especially does not give me really good vibes for any bullishness for next week. But if Apple does have good earnings, if it does have good forecasts, I'm expecting a rally, and I'm expecting it to be very good. So that's just something to keep in mind, because we do have some gap ups to fill, and I would love to fill those. That would be great, but we need to also respect the chart and respect what's happening. I do have a few more trades that are over at skingame.com and over on my Twitter page. Both are free, and you can see all of them. So thank you very much for watching this. The Supergirl Investor, hoping you to save the world and become a better investor, and to make sure all of parents get yachts by 2025. That is my goal. And I just wanted to show you these charts because I find them very interesting. Just be careful, manage risk, and make sure to have your strategy in place. I just wanted to give you a few stocks that I'm looking at, and a few things and events that I am looking at that I think will have effects on the stock market this week. So again, on Twitter, I'm very active, and on skingame.com, I'm very active with all of my trades. I will notify you as soon as something happens, as soon as I enter something, as soon as I close something, as soon as I see any of the data. I will notify you on both platforms. So follow me there. And of course, follow me here, because, stock market is crazy right now, and we definitely just need a select few things to look on each week, and hopefully I can give you that. All right, thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like and share this so we can all win at trading. And let me know in the comments below what stocks you're looking for this week, what sector you're looking for this week. And before we go, I just wanted to touch on the oil and coal space, because yes, that is rallying quite crazily because of the geopolitical tension. So the oil space is definitely going up and having much of a rally. I'm not looking at oil right now just because I believe it has been rallying so much. Do I believe that it will rally and continue to rally? I do, yes. But personally, my trading strategy is to try to find the stocks that I feel will rally the most and have the most risk reward. And right now, I do believe that oil is kind of like a safe rally that might get you a good like 10-20%. So it would be something to look for, but I'm also trying to look for the reversals and what are the next spaces that the institutions are especially looking at, because that's when you get the really big gainers, like the 30% or the 40%. So I'm trying to find those, but by all means, if you believe that oil stocks are a safer bet right now, go into those, because tech definitely is a trader's playground right now, but it's not going to give you the huge percentages that you're looking for. Like the QQQ and the FANGs are not going to give you the percentages that you want unless you trade them frequently. And unless you look at all of their supports and resistances. And again, if you are not good with trading certain sectors like oil, I would just say to, use your own strategy to, if you just look at ticker symbols and you don't look at sectors, if you just look at sectors and you don't look at specific ticker symbols, just to see which ones have the most relative strength, that's a very good way to trade. And since oil is doing so good right now, since coal is doing so well right now, you might be benefiting off of that. So if you are a trader who trades very well with oil or just specific sectors and ticker symbols, and you have your own strategy in place and you can manage your risk, I would definitely say to keep going into those oil stocks. But again, I like to find things that nobody's really paying attention to, that the institutes are basically just like, oh, FinTwit's not paying attention to this, so let's just slowly creep in and get on this. And, by the time it's gone, you're left with 10-20%. So I'm trying to find it before it happens, basically. But of course, it needs to confirm first, and there needs to be buyers. So I like to see that slow and steady rise of where the market's going to next. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That's why we keep managing our risk. That's why we look at charts and see if there is bearish momentum or bullish momentum, and we just trade off of that. And sometimes we get lucky with our calculated risks, and sometimes we don't. But as long as there's a higher reward, I love to trade those. So again, if there's any stocks that you see as a high reward, low risk play, please send them my way. Please put them in the comments. I love each and every one of you. And if you celebrate Easter, happy Easter. Love all of you. And thank you so much for all of my Twitter friends. Thank you for, I'm just like astounded by how many YouTube and Twitter friends I have right now, because we're all trying to be millionaires and we're all trying to be investors, and that's just so beautiful to see. So thank you very much. Please share this. I will stop talking right now. But love each and every one of you. Okay, bye.